Hi, how's it going, guys? In this video, we'll go ahead and cover cross products and how we actually cross vectors. Now, during class session, you might be introduced to a formula. However, let's assume that you can't actually use that formula, you can't remember it, or you didn't write it down on your flashcard, etc. There's actually a much easier method to actually crossing these two vectors right here. And the first part of it, comes in actually reading the question. Now, if you haven't taken linear algebra or vector calculus, this might come off as a new concept to you. However, we can go ahead and make a matrix, what you might have covered in pre-calc, to go ahead and actually tackle this problem. Let's go ahead and look at the problem. So we have vector b equals -2, -6j, plus 2k, and we have vector c, which equals -2, -2, and -3k. Now, which one of these following numbers is closest to the magnitude of c times b? Now, this is really important because this will actually affect your answer. You need to make sure that you're looking at this part right here. Right here. You need to understand that it's asking what's vector c times vector b. And this is really important because when you write down this, whatever order is going to affect your problem. So let's go ahead and write this down. So we have an I, a j, and a k. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is make a matrix of these values in the order it wants it. So in this case, because it's c times b, we need to go ahead and write down c first. So it'd be -2, -2, -3. And then for b, we have -2, -6, and 2. As you can see, I'm deriving these values from their coefficients. There you go. And one of the things we can do now from here is we can actually go ahead and start crossing these by by using the matrix method. So what we know is we need an I, we need a J, and we need a K. Now, this is really important. The only bit of memorization you need to do for this method is that the first value will always be a subtracted value, and the second value will always be an added value. And what I mean by this is that when we actually start drawing our tables, you need to make sure that these are inverse signs and in this correct order. So let's actually make our table. And in order to make our table, once we have these values like this, we can actually just go ahead and look at the table. Like for example, right here, we're looking for I. So when we take I, we cross it, and now this will be our table. So -2, -3, -6, and 2 is our first table. Our second table, when we look at J, would actually be -2 and 2, and -3 and 2, because we cross like this. So this is -2, -3, and this is -2 and 2. And now when we finally look at K, we're going to go ahead and cross this way. So our table is actually this one right here. So it's all negatives, and it's just going to be 2, 2, -2, 6. So now from here, what do we do? Well, this is where we can actually start crossing it. And whenever you cross like this, you're then going to subtract these values. So it should look something like this. And then we bring this down. So this is I minus, subtract it again. And then we bring down the J, and then we go ahead and subtract that and bring down our K. Okay, so from here, our first one is -2 times 2. Well, that's -4. And our second one is just 18. That's just positive 18. Our second value is, it seems to be -4 again. And this seems to be 6. Now here, when we cross these, we get 12 and +4. So when we bring these values down, we actually get AK plus, now here you would get -10J, and here you would get, and remember, the negative brings down, so we actually have to factor this to make it positive. And from here, we get -22I. And when we factor this actually just becomes +10. So let's go ahead and remember, we have to factor, and the reason I'm getting that is because we have to factor this negative in. So you actually get +10. Okay. So from here, it's as you might think to yourself, well, this looks nothing like the answers, and you'd be correct because now we're actually looking for its magnitude. So we know that the formula for magnitude is just all the values squared. Again, this is just derived of Pythagorean theorem. And then you're just going to go ahead and square all the values. Let's actually take out a calculator. Sorry, let's go to apps. Calculator, there it is. So let's go ahead and take out our calculator. And we know we have 22 times 22, which gives us 484. 10 squared is 100. And 8 squared is just 64. Now, when you go ahead and take the square root of our answer, we get 25.4558, etc. Now, this can actually be best rounded to 25. And would you look at that? The answer's right there. I hope this helps, especially if you're new into vector calculus. And this is pretty much how we cross two vectors. Hope this helps. And I'll see you in the next video.